joining me again today. In today's session, we are going to do 3 separate pours in honor of Super Bowl weekend. I have chosen to do the colors of the Arizona Cardinals, or if you're a fan of the Sun Devils, they have very similar colors. So whichever is your favorite, these are the colors we're using. Today we will be doing a traveling open cup. We are going to use our colander, do a colander pour, and my third one will be a wrecked ring pour. All of my colors are 1 part paint, 2 parts Floetrol, and 1 part water. It is a little warm here today. I know it's the middle of winter, but in Arizona it's a little warm here today. So hopefully my paints don't dry out too quickly. I have 2 colors of red, just because I like a little bit of variety. The yellow, and I added gold as the second yellow, and of course black and white. I'm going to be using the white as the base color and the black hopefully as just a minor highlight color. So we're going to flood our first canvas. Now I had 2 canvases, brand new ones, but the third one I had to scrounge and reuse an old one, so you might be able to see some of the previous painting there. Hopefully we won't see it too much when we're done. Now, fluid art is not a clean painting style. You get paint everywhere, which is of course half the fun, which is why I have my gloves, although I do love getting my hands dirty when I paint. Because we're doing 3, I don't want to cross-contaminate. And of course, at some stage, you'll see my beautiful painting shirt. Some people like to use aprons and stuff. I have painting shirts, which I very much like. And it can come out whenever I want to do some fluid art. Now, with this particular traveling cup pour, we don't have to be very precise with when we flood our canvas, but we do want to make sure that we kill the bubbles. So, and my little heat gun, get rid of some of these bubbles. Oh, dog hair. You probably don't want dog hair in your pour, you know, because somebody might get jealous because they don't have a dog. There we go. It's starting to dry already. Alright, so we will put our cup in there. We will flood around our cup. And we will start with our colors. Now, the red is probably going to merge with the white a little and give me some pink, which is not the end of the world, but probably not my preference. We'll just see what happens. Let's see. Lots of color. Being very obnoxious and not coming out yet, but we'll see what happens. There we go. We just hadn't made it heavy enough. You can see it's starting to come out here, and in theory we should get some nice little cells out of it as well. So you just want to layer your paints.
Somehow killed the music.
And the faster you put it in, or see how it travels faster when I start pouring the paint faster. We'll just put a little tiny bit of black. So I don't want too much black in it. Now I'm I'm going to tip the canvas a little.
Turn music off because everything's feeding back to the back.
So,
You go later.
and we'll make sure that it has plenty of, especially considering how warm it is here right now. Let's see, we want more red, always more red. Now, even without silicone, you will often see that this type of technique will produce cells, whether you like them or not, actually. My preference isn't for cells, but it is a technique, well, a look that a lot of people prefer. So, mustn't forget our gold, because it will add that little bit of sparkle later on. Now, you want to make sure we don't Now, when we're done, there's still paint in the middle. So when we're done putting paint in and having it spread out, we're going to end up with just this solid blob of colour, which is not always what you want. And there's various techniques that you can use.
Didn't update the title.
I rather like using the rect ring technique in here so that it doesn't look like a ball of colour, but you'll see that when we get to that point. And let's move this down just a little. The other unfortunate thing about using a canvas is it's not square, so it's almost impossible to make it completely flat. And there's music. Alright, so I'm just put the rest of my gold, because I really want the gold in there. And a little bit more black, just a smidgen. And of course, yellow. There is much yellow and much red. I'm going to finish it off with this nice bright red. Right. Now, so we want to travel a little bit that way. And then we want to travel a little bit this way. Okay. Let's lift it a smidge and make it travel. And we're going to do a bit of a wreck, so it doesn't look like just a blob of paint. Get some of the yellow up in here. Right, now the fun part comes. You get to stretch it all out. You can cover the whole canvas and get paint everywhere, because getting paint everywhere is really cool. Just go around and fix the edges. Right. touching them up. Oof. Like I said, it's a messy job. You paint everywhere, which is cool. I like it anyway. Alright, so let's grab some colour in these corners. Just going to actually do this. Paint everywhere. And grab some of this. So that, because it's very thin paint, that's going to continue to drip because the canvas is not square and not level. It's going to continue to change the picture. It will look different when it's dry because it will continue to drip through there. But you can see with this particular process, you get a lot of merging of colours. It's very subtle. And there are some cells, a couple here, a few in here, but generally it's a very soft picture. Let's pop some bubbles just to make sure. Now if I had silicone in this paint, as I was doing this right now, all of the silicone would be activating and you'd be getting cells over the place. But I don't, so we aren't. Now, we're going to do the same thing, make the same kind of mess with the colander pour. Oh, and really, really sucky gloves. But we'll get them on without too much damage. Maybe, perhaps. Okay, that's one. Let's see if we can get this one on without tearing it. That was an absolute miracle. I did it! Alright, so in order not to waste paint, I'm going to start with the leftover white from the last one. I hate wasting paint. And I definitely made up way too much for this particular exercise. But luckily you can shove it in an airtight container and keep it for a while. Now because it has water in it, it won't keep for as long as if it was just Floetrol. Your water mixed paints, I believe they have a lifespan of like a week or so and not much more. Generally, I don't keep paints that have been mixed with water because of that very reason. All of these paints are mixed exactly the same way, so you can see how each of these techniques perform with exactly the same paint. The only thing that changes is the technique used. So let's put our colander in the middle, and this is the cool part. Let's see, we'll start with red, and then use black, and then some yellow, might even put some white in with this one, just a tiny bit as a highlight. Some of the more darker red and some of the gold. We're going to put the gold around the outside so it comes down. More red. Ooh. More gold, because gold I love about flow techniques is how, I guess, imprecise they tend to be. You don't have to colour exactly between the lines. So you can see it's starting to come out. Perhaps a side view would show it a little better. There you go. But this will suffer from a very similar issue to the floating cup, in that when I lift it up, we're going to be left with a round bulk of pure colour. But again, I like to use a, oh, I probably should have done that. Whoops. Okay, paint going everywhere. Woo! Alright. Now obviously we're going to lose a lot of the yellow on this one. I didn't use enough of it when I was creating it. I'm going to lose practically all of the yellow in this one, I think. Just a shame. So and you can just actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab some of this gold. And apparently I'm going to drip all over the canvas because I have so much of the paint on my hands. Just going to add some gold in there. I'm gonna fix my drippy canvas a little. More gold in there. Then some of my missing yellow can go in there as well. There's just too much white right there and I didn't like it. Now obviously this looks like it does not look good. Well, that's cool because I'm going to be stretching it again in a second. So look as bad as it did. Now I'm going to get paint all over my hand. that did not do what I wanted it to. So let's just quickly fix the corners. See what we can do. Some red. Still going to be a blob, but it's an interesting blob. That's a bit better. Now it's a less obvious blob. Now with the colander pour, you get more lines, you get more distinction between the colours than you do with the floating cup. With the wrecked ring pour,
that makes 0 sense.
You let's see if I can get this on without tearing it this time. I really like this one. I think this one's cool. Now hopefully with the ring pour we're going to see more distinct lines. But we will see what happens. That's the theory behind a ring pour. Ah, look. Here, there be colour. Oh, and I got colour all over my spatula. Oh, now I got colour all over my painting. This is fun. See if we can fix that. There we go. And this one. Okay, let's take that off. And we got colour all over the spatula. Okay, so this one is not going to have a pure white base. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. See, I've got colour all over this already. So much for not contaminating each picture. I think we can consider this one somewhat contaminated. I would say that would be definitely considered contamination. Yep, it's getting more and more contaminated by the moment. Ah well, I'll put some white into the ring itself so we still have white as a part of the picture. Now, so our middle technique, it's still like the one on the right, going to bleed over the edges some. And of course, make sure there's no bubbles, because if you get too impatient and don't pop your bubbles, it ends up making a hole in the paint, and that hole all the way down to the canvas and you see white spots. And we don't want that. Alright, so in our poor contaminated, must get rid of bubbles canvas, ring pours. I'm going to come over this side so hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. Here we go, we'll do it from here. A ring pour is quite simple. You just add your colours. Now, like the other canvases, I do want this one to be predominantly red. So I'm going to put a lot of red in this. Teeny bit of black. More red. Now, whatever you put on top is what comes out first. I mean, that makes a certain amount of sense. Ooh, that's nicely contaminated. So whatever is at the bottom when I'm doing this ring, the final colour in the middle of the ring is going to be a lot of red. Which is actually not a problem for me. Trying to keep it in camera. Oh, a little bit of white. Let's put some more white in there. And that's a huge amount of paint for this tiny little canvas. So I won't be using all of it. Oh, then maybe I will be using all of it. Okay. So, obviously my canvas is not level, but before I lose all my paint, let's get it back on the canvas. And we're going to do a little bit of wrecking. So, come in here. And over here. And over here. Now you can do any old pattern you like. I mean, honestly, it doesn't have to even be a pattern. It can just be lines in your wrecking. Alright. This paint everywhere. Now we finish the exercise again by moving it back and forth across the canvas. Alright, so make sure your edges are good. Try not to trip over things on the floor. Damn it. Try not to drip paint all over your canvas. See if we can lose some of that. Without losing all of the composition. as you can see with the wrecked ring pour, you get a lot of very distinct lines. And again, because we're using thick paints with water in it, we do get a few homemade cells. And if you don't be careful, you get little drops of paint in your canvas. Okay, now oh wow, I got a lot of white over here. Oh no, when I did something, I must have splattered white across the whole. Okay, let's see if we can pull it off. Now obviously most people won't be doing 3 canvases on the same small piece of table, so shouldn't be an issue for anyone else. But as you can see, if you do like accidentally spill things or get a colour somewhere that you don't like, just touching it and moving away real quick picks up that top layer of paint and makes the paint around it come in and merge to cover the little hole that you've made. Alright, like obviously, let me see, I want some of this red, wrong red. It's picking up, when I'm doing this, it's picking up too much of the paint, and I'm getting the white base coming up. So let's see if this will work. And we'll just tilt it a little bit. Sometimes I'm not very good at fixing stuff, but when it dries you probably won't notice. Alright, so there are our 3 different techniques today. The floating cup, which tends to give you a much softer look. The colander gives you the lines and very dramatic effect when you pour from those. And the wrecked ring always gives you these beautiful lines in your painting. Now you can always just have them like this. They are absolutely gorgeous. I often grab these paints, these types of paintings, and I'll use this as a background. I'll paint something 3D on them, or just, you know, shadow pictures or something like that. If you have any comments, or you'd like to say which one is your favorite, or that you absolutely hate what I've done, that's a possibility as well. Please leave them in the comments section below. You can even comment if you want on how very messy a painter I am. But I hope you enjoyed today and that you'll join me for my next one. Remember to subscribe and like and all those wonderful things so that you get notified when I stream again. Thank you and have a great afternoon.